So as you know from last time, I took down the ceiling boards from bay 8 because I had to drill my holes for my LED lights. And while I had it down, I barrelized it. Remember, I put tape on the back and I stapled every board through the tape. And that tends to hold it all together while you're bringing it in and out of the ceiling. I like that idea. So I decided to take down all the rest of the ceiling boards again and barrelize them because I think that's a good move. Took them all out, brought them down. I gave them all another coat of my finishing cream because I like that finishing cream. And now they are looking good. I'm telling you, these boards are beautiful. I love the finish. I don't know if you could see it. There's a little bit of a luster to it, but it's nice. It's nice to look at. So now I'll barrelize these guys and put them back up. Well, I will tell you this. The reinstallation of these ceiling panels, it's not pretty, but it's doable. You just have to figure out your steps. What are the steps involved? So what I'm doing is I make sure that I've got it in the lip on this cleat. It's not a cleat, it's a strap. I call them all different kinds of things. Then I bring my wire over, see? So I put it in, I get it slid somewhat into place, more or less. Then I bring this up, and this is my extra set of hands. All right, I make sure it's tight, and I got to keep an eye on it because it could slide out of that lip. That's only a 1-inch lip. This one's not in yet on this side. So now I've got a little space there. I left myself a gap to put in my heavy mass vinyl. So I'm going to slide the mass vinyl in now. Now there's a couple of ways you could do this with the mass vinyl. I could have laid it on the top of the planks. In fact, that's probably what I should have done because it's not going in so good. So let's do it again.
That's how I did the others. I thought I could do something a little different on this one, but evidently it's not the case. So we'll bring this down one more time, carefully. Bring the wire. Make sure you keep an eye on the wire. Okay, that's resting there.
So I've got my Thinsulate, then my Reflectix. I've got the Thinsulate mounted black side up so that the white foam, the white fuzzy area from 3M themselves, it is considered airspace. So then you put your Reflectix in place. You've got an airspace. The black side up top is your barrier, vapor barrier, and then this is one additional sound, vapor, and weight barrier. Now let's see, like I said, it's not pretty and you got to be careful. Let's see if we can get this baby in. There we go. Bring your wire back through. Okay, and let's get your mass vinyl. Now I can slide this. All right, in order to work on it and be safe, there we go, that's better. Okay, you see how it wants to come out of that 1-inch lip. So now I get this baby up, my extra set of hands, make sure it's tight so it doesn't drop on you. Now I can finesse this and get it installed. So, okay, there's some labor. There's some labor to it, but it's nothing like if you had a sealed up ceiling, you're just not getting in. At least here, you've got options. And you know how I feel about options. I have these marked P and S, port and starboard, fore and aft. That's how I am identifying everything in this build in nautical terms. You know how you can tell if port, how do you know port from starboard? Well, port's got 4 letters and left has 4 letters. And that's how you remember port and starboard. Now these guys, once I get the first one in, the rest of them know exactly what to do because I tuned them. I think that's the spot. Yep, see how easy that goes in? And you just put some pressure on it. Let the screw do the work. When they're all in and I'm finally set with what I want, then I'll get the nice bolts and I'll replace these one at a time. So now there's some weight up there. That mass vinyl is what does it. Come on now, this one, oh, look at that. No effort, because I went back in and I tuned all these, so there was no struggle in putting these in. They all line up. The holes have the right amount of give for the bow, because when you bow the aluminum, it changes the length. Okay, just hand tight for now. All right, now that's it. Now, what I have to do with a rubber mallet, yeah, I gotta use a little rubber mallet. We gotta line up all these tongue and grooves. So when I get them all in, I'll tap them till they're lined up, and then I'll put my stopper on the back side. And that's it. Look how nice that looks, right? Oh, look at the flare. I jump and pop out of these vans probably 200 or 300 times a day. And I have destroyed the balls of my feet. I don't know what this is about. But you see, in and out, up and down, bang, bang, bang. The balls of my feet are killing me. So I got my diagnosis online. It turns out what I have, this is called plantarfascia fra diavolo. As I do my wiring, I want to show you this product that I've decided to use for all of my splicing and connections. These are called Juego Connectors. Juego. These things are great. Here's the why and how I'm going to use these Juego connectors. When you use a crimp connection, you destroy the wire and you destroy the crimp. That's the whole point of the crimp. You've got to crush it in order to make it hold. These Juego connectors are reusable. And the big issue with them is that human error is minimized, because when you make a crimp connection, there are many variables involved in that crimp connection. The person making it, his knowledge and experience when it comes to making crimping connections. These are as simple as throwing a lever and hearing it click. As I said, the reason I like these is because they are reusable. Now, in all fairness, maybe it's a little overkill, because in my van, my Pleasure Way, which is a 2011, that's been running now for 8 years, and not one of the LED lights has gone bad. They're all still fine. I shouldn't have said that. Tonight I'll probably go dark. But the point is, you do get an awful lot of life out of these lights, but sometimes you don't. Sometimes you get one failure, it's a quick failure, premature failure. So what I'm going for is a very easy replacement for these lights in the future. If they were crimped and you needed to replace this fixture, you would drop it down through the ceiling hole and you'd have to cut away the crimp and restrip and resplice. That's not the case with these. You would just open the door, pull the wire out, put the new light in, and close it. You wouldn't even be touching the power side of the connection. It's that easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set these up, and I'm going to actually position and tape them right here alongside the edge of the puck hole. I am going to tape them down just because of the earthquake that is the inside of a van when it's driving around. So there won't be any vibration or motion, but when you need to replace this, you'll just drop it down and these things will come right down. You replace the light, put them back up and put the tape back. It'll be that simple. Now, if you wanted to change them all out, then you drop your ceiling panel. That's also not as simple, but it is doable. So, here's what we do. I have this pre-measured for the depth. I showed you in a previous video. I can't see it on here, I need glasses. There's a depth gauge on here for how much wire you want to strip off the edge, off the end. So I have that set. This yellow scale guide here, it's not as well made as I would like it to be. What I wanted to tell you is about this tool. You've seen everybody using them. All of Anvil, everybody's got them. They're great. But what I want to tell you is to lubricate it. There's a lot of moving parts. So get a little something, something. This is automatic transmission fluid. You can use oil, whatever you want to do. And wherever there's metal on metal, just touch a little lubrication to those parts. And it makes the, you work it in and makes the tool run nice. And you'll get a lot of use out of it and the action will be nice, right? That's all. Or one of these Wagos is the same as a crimper. Do not get confused and put a red and a black in there. This is just to join two wires. And the big deal is, I don't know if you can see it here, this wire is a much heavier gauge than the one that came on the light. So if you were to use a regular crimp connection, that's a special connector that's got this gauge on one side and this gauge on the other. That is no longer an issue with these Wagos. It doesn't matter. The Wago can take, these particular Wagos can take, I think, from up to 10, number 10 wire to 24 wire. So they are versatile, they are quick, they're high quality. Like I said, if you look at the tests online that are done with these things, vibration testing, over voltage testing, I mean, they cook these things and they do not fail. One thing you do have to be careful of with stranded wire is make sure every single strand is there. When you strip it, when you enter it, everything. Like I said, a strand is important as an individual vote. So here's what I'll do. I'll position these babies right here, right at the edge of the hole, with a little piece of tape to separate them. Always double check, red, red, black, black, right? So here's how I'll do this, just so you know, in case you have to change one of these. Now I'm also separating them from each other with the tape. So there's no chance of them, they're not going to short out, but this is just the way I work. See that? Look how nice that lays, right? Now when you drop this out, you'll be able to reach up, you'll see these, and you'll know about it because it'll be in the video manual that comes with the van. Oh, you didn't know about that, did you? So then we just run our line down. And again, we are, I want to leave you some slack for that. So here's what I'm going to do. That's your slack. So you can pull the wire down through the hole and it'll give you enough to work on. There'll be no cursing. There'll be no frustration. Now you say, well, the tape's not going to hold. And you're right. The tape would not be the only thing I would rely on. But a staple, that's going to hold. That's going to keep it right where it needs to be. And you've got all this line to drop down through there if you need it. In the meantime, these babies are sitting nice and cozy with no worries. On to the next one. So this end, where these babies come off the ceiling and drop down to where my switches are going to be, they're coming through this notch. Now, if you remember, I told you that whenever I pass over any kind of a quasi-sharp edge, an edge of any nature, I will add a second layer of looming right in there to protect it further. Well, in this situation, that would just get unruly, and I don't want that large a hole coming down through the corner of this. So rather than loom each one of these with a section, what I did is I got some padded butyl electrical tape. This is thick electrical tape, and I put 2 layers of it in here, and now the entire area is smooth, and the wires are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-way protection on those wires. So that's how that's going to come down. The upper cabinets, they are going to be comprised of 80/20 framework and acrylic, 1/4-inch acrylic. Sliding doors, hinge doors, and bottoms of all the cabinets. This, for instance, is a galley section. Okay, the holes are obviously for puck lights, and then here I got my little switches. Over the galley, it's going to be white milk acrylic. The entire galley area, except for the solid walnut fascia on the cabinets. Everything is acrylic and aluminum, and then solid walnut. So this will be the underside of the cabinet. Dimmer switches, can you see these? This is going to look really nice. Dimmer switches are in the corner in the back. Where was I going to put those switches? Were they going to be in the front like this? Would they be in the front like that? In the middle? In the back? What I did decide that if they were situated like this, one closer to you, one further, you have to reach past the closer one every time you want to get to this one. This one will always be in the way. So that settles that. So that means we're not going this way. We're not going port and starboard, for instance. They're going to be fore and aft. Now, if they're in the front, they could be prone to damage. This one, for instance, over the galley, you could be moving a pot, a glass, coffee, whatever it is. In the front, they're prone to getting hit. So I decided the best place for these and the orientation was in the rear corners, like that. So when you reach in for one or the other is not in the way. If this was over here, you'd have to pass it with your hand to get to that one. So that's why they're in the back and they're situated like that. And there's a fuzzy logic to the way I did this. The puck lights are controlled by the dimmer that's closest to the puck lights. Then this one controls the accent strip light. My puck lights, I call those my task lights. So over the galley, for instance, you've got 4 of them. There's one switch here for 2, and there's one switch here for 2. And they're all dimmed. So you have options. If you just want to work here or you want to dim them, then there's accent lighting, which is the LED strip lighting. That's another one. Then I even have night lighting, red night lighting, switched over here. So we'll get to that. But that's where I'm at. As I said, the galley is the white acrylic. And then over the futon couch, I've got a Thunder Gray. Humble Road, Thunder Gray, 1/4 inch. Same thing. Task lights, in this case they're for reading. Switches are in the back corner. See that? There's your switches, task lights. So I had to make up each of these things. So when you cut this plexi, I'm going to go with the slowest rotational speed I have on this drill press, which is 300 RPMs. All right? So you reset your belt. I got variable speed with this thing. It's a little piece of junk from Harbor Freight, but it has served me well, believe me. Now, before I get started, I want to show you a little something. Okay? Here's the drill press turned on. Now I'm going to turn it on and I'm going to add a couple of layers of heavy mass vinyl. Ready? Huh? All right, heavy mass vinyl. The trick here is to go slow. Take your time. I use a foam paintbrush dipped in soapy water to keep the plexi irrigated and cool. The drill bit doesn't seem to mind the foam paintbrush. They have to fit inside. Hold on a second. They actually sit in the recess of the 80-20. See that? All the way around. They sit inside the recess. So I'm making very nice use of the ridges in the 80-20. I've got some other treatments that I'm going to work on, but that's how this is going to sit. And don't worry, I'm going to take care of these other grooves. You'll see, you'll all see. Light on the pencil. Heavy on the ruler, light on the pencil. Oh yeah. Is that me? Oh, well, they do say the camera adds 10 pounds. I just want to know how many cameras are on.